But the fight is over, and it is a record-breaking victory for the US here in Wisconsin.
It's my honor to introduce our 2023 US Ryder Cup captain, Jack Johnson.
Breaking news, it is Luke Donald who will captain Europe for the first time in Rome 2023.
Pinching myself, knowing that I'm the captain, leading the European side.
I'm excited to be here in 2023. I cannot wait.
Hard to put into words how good this Ryder Cup is going to be with Rome as a backdrop.
The first tee of the Ryder Cup is the most intense and nerve-wracking tee shot you'll ever hit.
It's unbelievable. It's something that until you get there on the first tee and actually experience it firsthand, it's very difficult to explain how you're going to feel and how the atmosphere is going to be on the first tee.
It's nothing like anything else in golf. The adrenaline you get there, it's something you don't experience anywhere else.
The very first time I was on the Ryder Cup, going onto the first tee, I was absolutely, can I say, bricking it? Can I say that? I think I was. We all were. Everybody was. Doesn't matter who you are. You're very, very nervous.
Representing Europe, Holland Montgomery.
Luke Donald.
Even us as the professionals, we know it's important and we get nervous and we have anxiety and tension.
Walking to that first tee is just the most brilliant feeling. You know, it's a little bit like a roller coaster, and I'm not sure you enjoy it when you're on it, and the minute you're off it, you go, that was the most incredible experience of my life.
It's quantifiably just escalated into a completely different stratosphere compared to what it was certainly in my first Ryder Cup.
My first Ryder Cup, there must have been 150 people around that first tee, of course. Now, my God, there's thousands of people. I mean, the French stand was incredible, like a football pitch.
It's getting bigger and bigger. You know, Paris will be difficult to match, but from what I've seen, from what I've heard, we're on that path.
You know, you look at what's going to happen again in Italy, and you know, that's rock and roll stuff. You know, that's a completely different level.
Il golf non è uno sport principe in Italia, nel senso che c'è il calcio e magari ci sono altri sport di massa.
Golf is not the highest profile sport, and in fact it's well below many others. Hopefully some of the Italians will take their eye off football just for a little while, and you know, why wouldn't they? Because it will be an extraordinary event.
È importantissimo per il nostro paese. Il nostro non è un paese che ha un profilo golfistico.
Sono stato sicuro sin dall'inizio, anche quando ero quasi preso in giro da chi mi sentiva pensare o parlare di possibile Ryder Cup all'Italia. Io avevo una forma di sicurezza che l'Italia ci sarebbe riuscita.
Quando 6 anni fa decisi di provare a portare la Ryder Cup in Italia, nessuno ci credeva. Quindi un sogno che adesso sta diventando realtà.
This is a very special place with an incredible energy. The tower dates back to the 11th century. It was a defense tower, and the surroundings were built in Renaissance. There was an incredible family. There were the Tebaldis who bought this place in the 16th century, and they really turned it into a modern concept of living. So Marco Simone Tebaldi gave the name to the place and also to the land that surrounds it. That's why it's called Marco Simone. My parents bought it at the end of the 70s. They would drive by every day because they lived in town, and they would see this wonderful place that was kind of looking sad. It was abandoned. It was bombed during the Second World War. So they came in and they felt they wanted to give a new life to these old territories. My mother was Laura Biagiotti. She was one of the most famous Italian designers and entrepreneurs. So they bought the castle, they restored it, and then came the golf course. They had this huge land around the castle, and they were wondering, what shall we do with this land? And they figured out they would want to build a golf course in Rome with the idea to host major international events. It was the end of the 80s. They called the Fazio family from the US to design the first golf course, and my mom was so much involved in the design, and she would call it the biggest green skirt I ever designed in my whole life. One day I sat down with my mom and I looked at her straight in her eyes and I said, I want to start to manage Marco Simone as of tomorrow. And she said, why? Why do you want to do this? And I felt, the world is shifting from having to being. So we make products in fashion and I want to carry on doing this. I love to make fragrances, dresses, bags, sunglasses, accessories, and all of that. But I want to share with people the beauty of this place. I mean, I grew up here, so all these wonderful things that I'm surrounded by, I want to share them with more and more people from around the world, and I want to do something big at Marco Simone.
Per le quali Ryder Cup Europe richiedeva determinate caratteristiche ed è stato l'unico campo che aveva le caratteristiche richieste per poter svolgere una Ryder Cup.
Perché aveva spazi enormi e soprattutto una capacità di modificazione dell'ambiente, del terreno, che poi è stato realizzato e che ha portato ad un campo epico.
La Ryder Cup.
We were awarded with the Ryder Cup on December 14th in 2015. The European Tour said, the bids were terrific, but the Ryder Cup goes to, and then there is a pause, there's a silence. Italy! And we're all like, we're Italian, so we show all of our passion. I rushed back to the castle here, where I am right now, to hug my mom and tell her thank you so much for giving me the chance of experience all of this in my life. And when I hug her, I have this tag in my hands that says, "It can be done." This was on my dad's desk. It was President Reagan's motto, and I carried this in my purse throughout the candidature process. So we have this lovely picture of me hugging my mom with the tag, like the three of us are again together, and that was an incredible moment. We were both so happy.
C'avevo soltanto gente che pensava che io fossi un visionario e venivo quasi preso in giro e alla fine invece abbiamo vinto ed è stato un giorno indimenticabile.
Insieme a Ryder Cup Europe, insieme alla proprietà del campo Marco Simone, si è deciso di rifare interamente e completamente il campo di gara. E proprio per questo motivo si è fatto un campo di gara solo ed esclusivamente da Ryder Cup.
We always knew from the beginning, when they won the Ryder Cup, that the golf course was going to be totally changed. But there were some fundamental issues with the course in terms of, from greens to tees, there's a lot of crossovers. So for the players and spectators, it was going to prove an absolute nightmare. So to try and retrofit in infrastructure and hospitality just wasn't really going to work. So we knew we had pretty much a blank canvas.
We started with the dozers. That was in fall 18. I had 200 dozers for 3 years. It was challenging for a woman pretty much dressed in white with high heels, being out there on the course, having discussions with all these wonderful men that were shaping the course.
There were challenges on the site. We had archaeology, there were electric lines that used to cross the site, there was gas lines. big challenges that, as a greater team, we've all had to overcome.
The Italian government tonight put the entire country on lockdown. All Italy now at Zona Rossa.
February, March 2020, the pandemic comes, and that's when the Prime Minister shut the country. So we have to stop the big dozers and they all have to be parked on a side.
Mentre tutto il paese, mentre tutto il mondo era fermo, noi abbiamo dovuto cominciare i lavori sul campo del Marco Simone.
One thing we can do with the Golf Federation is to take down the pylons. That was crucial to host the Ryder Cup, so the Golf Federation and Giampaolo Montali were incredible in making that happen.
Una condizio sine qua non per fare la Ryder Cup su quel campo era abbattere questi piloni dell'alta tensione. Il paese era fermo, era bloccato, nessuno lavorava. Abbiamo preso una decisione forte, coraggiosa, rischiando anche in prima persona. Abbiamo abbattuto i piloni dell'alta tensione, abbiamo fatto venire degli elicotteri per poter fare questa operazione. Occorrevano 55 autorizzazioni per poter fare questo. Abbiamo attaccato il tempo e in soli 6 mesi siamo riusciti ad avere tutte le autorizzazioni e ad abbattere i piloni di alta tensione. È stata un'operazione all'Apocalypse Now, però ci siamo riusciti perché se non avessimo abbattuto i piloni durante marzo del 2020 non avremmo mai potuto fare il campo.
And then the dozers came back by the end of May 2020 and we were able to seed in June, and then we opened the first 9 holes in September 2020, so we were actually ready to host the Ryder Cup in 2022 as it was originally meant to be, but then the European Tour decided to postpone, so we had 1 extra year to be ready for the Ryder Cup.
Percorso incredibile, straordinario, proprio fatto adatto per questa manifestazione altamente spettacolare. Il lavoro che è stato fatto è stato difficile, durissimo. In piena pandemia abbiamo dovuto fare completamente il campo nuovo.
I mean, we've spent the last 6 years of our lives trying to get the course ready for what's going to come in September. I dare say there'll still be some sleepless nights, but, we've pretty much handed over the keys now, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Buongiorno. Okay, giovedì.
The transformation at Marco Simone is unbelievable. We arrived here with a golf course under full renovation, thinking that we are going to host the Italian Open, thinking that we are going to host the Ryder Cup, that we are going to make it possible.
Today, tee times, 7:30. Hole number 1, Oscar. Hole 10, 17, and 8.
And today means a lot for me. And we know that it's going to be a great Ryder Cup in Italy.
I think today we're going to need solar cream, huh? The sun is getting there, finally. We arrived here at the beginning of 2020, and basically we've been working every day preparing the Ryder Cup since day 1. So we could say 3 full years, 3.5.
Alexis.
Yeah?
18, 10 forward.
What about the putting green?
You are right. Putting green, 18, 10 forward. Okay?
Okay.
Grazie mille. Grazie.
We are preparing the most important golf event in the world. So as you can imagine, I have a huge responsibility, but also it's a huge honor to be the superintendent.
All good? Ready to go? Okay. Grazie.
The whole project has been a challenge, and still it is a challenge. We are working on the golf course every day, just focus on the Ryder Cup. We want to make sure that the golf course will look amazing during the tournament week.
For me, a great Ryder Cup golf course must have several things. First of all, must be uniform when we talk about playability, hole by hole. Must offer a unique experience for the spectators, a visual experience. Also must have the last 3-4 holes must have a great finish where the match, mostly on match play, can be decided on those last 2 holes. And be able to birdie a few holes, because that's as well what the people want to see those birdies and even some eagles and making it spectacular.
Design it for drama. Always Dave, the designer of the golf course, say that, and I am totally agree. This golf course has been designed for that, for drama. No? Hole number 16, 17, and 18. I think all the spectators, golf fans, are going to enjoy a lot at Marco Simone.
We've had 3 Italian Opens on there now. The first year, I think, some good lessons were learned, especially in terms of the setup, and I think the last 2 years they've really got that spot on.
This is the 78th edition of the Italian Open. We're at Marco Simone Golf Club, just outside of Rome, as you can see in the distance.
Me and my people, we learned so much from Italian Opens. We had like Rory McIlroy, which was my hero since ever, and so many great champions who came and played the course. So I remember I could not sleep in the night. So I was following Rory out there on the course, and I would see him like smiling at me, and that was unbelievable because it was not like me supporting him, it was actually him calming me down and supporting me and saying, Lamina, it's all right, we love the course and it's going to be fine for the Ryder Cup. So that was a special story.
Marco Simone is a very difficult golf course. It's very hilly to start with. There's some huge elevation changes, especially in the back nine. I think for viewing spectators it's going to be fantastic because there's big hills and slopes next to the holes. So you have these natural like amphitheaters where you can sit and watch a couple of holes without really moving. And for players I think it's going to be a great test.
The one key thing that strikes you about Marco Simone is the amount of elevation change across the site, and we really, saw that as a really big opportunity. Not only for golf, but also for the spectators and the hospitality and the infrastructure, which all goes into a Ryder Cup package. And we sort of pitched it as sort of a coliseum, where we take the golfer in on the first, into this valley, with all the hospitality and the embankments on either side, and you've got the first, and they play with all the people and the drama and the excitement of that.
It's been built with an eye on the Ryder Cup. It's built for the stadium. It's built for the atmosphere to be imposing on the players.
I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to sympathetically fit a golf course into its surroundings, and I think we have done that. The course has a lot of elevation change. It has about 50 meters from one side to the other, and the players are constantly going up and down it. It's going to be tough, and I dare say it's probably going to be tougher for the caddies. The spectators being able to see so many golf holes, that's one of the unique points about this venue.
The setup of it is leaning a little bit towards Le Golf National. That's what we saw from how it was set up for the Italian Open. Thicker rough, narrower fairways. It worked really well for us in France. I don't believe that the Americans will fall foul as much as they did there. Strategy perhaps didn't work that well for how they needed to approach that golf course. Worked for us. So I think it's a golf course that will suit us. I think the environment will suit us as well because it will be so well attended, as it always is, and the European fans will pull the team along.
The first 3 holes are tough par 4s, and then there's a bit of a relax on holes 4 through 6. Then you've got the tough 7th, and that 7th is in that sort of central core. There are a couple of shots where I think the players have to really commit 100%. Tee shot on number 7 is definitely one. The trickiest hole, I think, is going to be number 15. It's a hard par 4. And it comes at a pretty crucial time in Ryder Cup matches, so I think 15 is going to be tough. I mean, the tee shot is really the key, because the landing area really narrows up if the player really wants to take on the bunkers on the corner of the dogleg. They then get an 8-9 iron into a raised green. If they decide not to take those bunkers on the sort of 5-6 iron, which, into that green, you sort of need a little bit more loft in your hand. So it'll be interesting to see strategy-wise how they tackle that one.
I think the golf course is a great scenario for the Ryder Cup. The way it's being designed by European Golf Design, with the drivable par 4s, the 2 short par 3s, the 2 long par 3s, the variability of the holes.
The most important challenge on the golf course, I think, is gonna be hole number 16, a par 4 driver ball.
16, which will probably become, the iconic hole of this year's Ryder Cup. That's got the tee shot with a view to St. Peter's. So we're bringing them back in to this sort of amphitheatre.
There's a lot of risk and reward holes where you can drive the green on par 4s or get home into on par 5s. There's a lot of water involved in the last few, so I think it's going to be a great test.
We're trying to take them on a journey, and when Rory played last year in the Italian Open, he sort of described it as a book. You get through the first few chapters and then all the juicy bits come towards the end, and I think that's what we were hoping to create. And Ryder Cup's all about excitement, drama, birdies, eagles, and that's what we're trying to get out of it. And, we're quietly confident that the back nine certainly delivers on that, for sure.
E questo è quello che vogliono gli spettatori del golf. Vogliono vivere delle emozioni irripetibili.
Stiamo cercando di fare in modo che questa rimanga la nostra speranza, la nostra ambizione è quella che rimanga la Ryder Cup più iconica della storia della Ryder Cup. Ma perché questo? Perché questa si svolgerà a Roma, la città eterna, dove tutto è iniziato.
Rome is a very special and unique city. I think for fans, spectators, you have something else to do outside of the golf.
The fans will be able to go and see wonderful golf, and then they're 10 kilometers away from extraordinary things like the Colosseum and the Spanish Steps.
When you walk around the city, there's history wherever you look, so I think it's an ideal city to host the Ryder Cup.
Playing the Ryder Cup in Rome will be legendary. I mean, this is where the legends were forged. And I'm sure it will be memorable, distinctive and unforgettable for everyone.
Il nostro non è solo una gara di 7 giorni, per noi la Ryder Cup è molto di più. È un progetto di 12 anni che vede la crescita e lo sviluppo del golf nel nostro paese.
This will be a huge impetus and hopefully a big inspiration to young golfers in Italy to take up the game.
I've heard a lot of Italian young golfers are coming to the event as volunteers, marshalling, scorers, whatever, and hopefully they will be inspired to play some great golf and be part of it as a player in future years.
Ricordo l'Olimpiade del 60 qui a Roma proprio, che è stato un ricordo, rappresenta un ricordo straordinario. Io ho la speranza che la Ryder Cup possa superare quel ricordo.
I'm doing the Ryder Cup because I love my country, because I love my family, because I love this place, and above all because I love golf.
Mi sono aumentati i capelli bianchi. Quando è iniziata l'avventura della Ryder Cup avevo i capelli un po' più neri. Mi sto accorgendo ogni mattina che mi guardo allo specchio che sono sempre più bianchi. Prevedo che per la Ryder Cup sarò completamente una testa bianca, però ne vale la pena.
Essere ricordato in questo senso, quello di aver prodotto per questo paese, per il mondo, un evento indimenticabile.